So while studying herding, we often have to answer questions like, what is the probability that this is the better restaurant given the reviews I have heard and the crowds I have seen in each of the restaurants? Or, for example, in the herding experiment that we were talking about, we have to answer this question, what is the probability that this urn is majority red given the marble I just drew and the guesses I have heard so far, right? So what this tells you is that we need a way to determine probabilities of event given the information that is observed. So let's just establish some notation before we talk about the relevant concepts. So we are going to say that given any event A, we are going to denote the probability of it occurring by this notation that you see here in the screen, right? However, we often would have to kind of like deal with situations where we are not just considering the probability of an event A, but we are considering the probability given that some other event B has occurred. So as you kind of like recall from your studies previously, that this is related to the relevant concept of conditional probability. So for example, suppose you are interested in thinking about event A, which is that the urn in the experiment is actually majority red, whereas B is the event that the ball you have drawn is red, right? Then in that case, we might be interested in this question that what is the probability that the urn is majority red, given that the ball you have drawn is red, right? So in terms of notation, this is related to the conditional probability of A given B, and we are going to denote this using this notation that you see here again on the screen, right? So what are the things that we know about this conditional probability? So recall your first year probability courses. So probability of A conditional B is given by probability of A intersection B divided by probability of B. Similarly, the conditional probability of B given A is given by probability of A intersection B divided by probability of A. Now, if you combine these first two equations, we can rewrite probability A conditional on B as follows. So from equation 2, you get that probability A intersection B is written as probability B conditional on A multiplied by probability of A. So rewrite the numerator of the first expression using the second expression. So we end up getting that probability of A conditional on B can be written as the ratio of probability B conditional on A multiplied by probability of A divided by probability of B, right? So this is pretty simple application of conditional probability that you have seen before. And this is basically one version of the Bayes rule that you can think of, right? You might have seen a different version where this probability B in the denominator is expanded, and we'll see applications of that. But this is the basic idea behind Bayes rule, right? So, okay, let's kind of like use this Bayes rule to justify the reasoning that we used when considering the herding experiment. So now what we want to do is we want to more mathematically kind of study the same experiment that was described in the previous segment, right? So you have got each student, essentially, now that we understand the language of probability, each student is trying to estimate the conditional probability that the urn is majority blue or majority red, given the color of the marble that she has drawn, right? And the guesses that this person has heard coming before, right? So that is kind of like the outcome that we are doing, right? So essentially the decision rule that she's going to be using is pretty straightforward, right? So she's going to guess that the urn is majority blue if the conditional probability that the urn is majority blue, conditional on the information that she has, which includes the color of the marble that she has seen, as well as the guesses that she has heard. So the information that she infers from that. If this conditional probability is greater than 0.5, then she should go with that the urn is majority blue, right? If this conditional probability is strictly less than 0.5, then she should go with that this urn is majority red. And if it is equal to 0.5, then she's indifferent between saying majority blue and majority red. And based on the assumptions that we have made so far, in that case, she should just go ahead and declare, what the color of the marble that she showed was, right? So that is the basic framework that we have. Okay, let's discuss a bit more. So remember that there was a 50% chance that the urn was majority blue and 50% chance that the urn was majority red. So this means that the prior probabilities, right, the initial probabilities with which you start out with is that the probability urn is majority blue and the probability urn is majority red, each of them are equal to 50% or half, right? Also, if you know for sure that the urn is majority blue, then what is the probability that you are going to pick up a blue marble? So remember, each urn had 3 marbles, right? So if it was majority blue, then 2 of the 3 were blue and one was red. So the probability of blue conditional on majority blue is given by 2/3, right? Similarly, the probability that you pick up a red marble conditional on the urn being majority blue is 1/3. And probability that you pick up a red marble conditional on the urn being majority red is 2/3, because again, in a majority red urn, out of the three marbles, two were red, one were blue, right? So that is pretty straightforward. Okay. Now let's consider each of the students' decisions one by one and see how we can use this machinery of Bayes rule to kind of like actually make more precise the informal intuition that we had while we were discussing the experiment. So let's consider first the first student, and imagine that the first student draws a blue marble, right? So what we want is to use this decision rule, right? In order to use this decision rule, we need to calculate this first conditional probability, right? So in this case, the student is the first student, and so there is no guess. So basically, the only information that the student has is the color of the marble that the student has drawn, right? So imagine that the student draws a blue marble, right? The calculation for if the student draws a red marble is the same. So I leave that to you as an exercise. But imagine that the student first draws a blue marble. So what we need to do is we need to calculate this conditional probability, that what is the probability that the urn is majority blue, given that the student has drawn a blue marble, right? And we are going to see that if this is greater than 0.5, then the student should guess that it's majority blue. If it is less than 0.5, then the student should guess that it's majority red, right? Okay. So what's the probability that it's majority blue conditional on drawing a blue marble? So using the version of Bayes rule that we just saw, this version, we can rewrite this as a fraction, right? Where the numerator is probability of majority blue, right? Multiplied by probability of drawing a blue marble from a majority blue one divided by probability of blue. So we are going to come to the numerator, but let's first expand the denominator first. And here we are going to use this result that you have seen before, called sometimes by the name of law of total probability, right? It has different names, but I think I'm almost sure are familiar with the basic ideas. So what is the probability of drawing a blue marble? So we can kind of condition it in two cases, right? Depending on majority blue urn or majority red urn, right? So rewrite probability of drawing a blue marble as probability of the urn being majority blue multiplied by probability of drawing a blue marble from a majority blue urn plus probability of the urn being majority red multiplied by the probability of drawing a blue marble from a majority red urn, right? Now, we know from before that the probability of majority blue and majority red are half each. So this is half, and this is also half. And we have also calculated these conditional probabilities, right? So for example, probability of blue from a majority blue urn, this is what we have calculated already. So this is equal to 2/3 that you see here, right? And the probability of drawing a blue marble from a majority red is 1/3. Why? Because the majority red urns have three marbles, out of which only one is blue. So that is 1/3, right? So if you now calculate, this is 2/6 plus 1/6, so 3/6 or half, right? So the denominator is half. What about the numerator? So we have already calculated these expressions before, right? So probability of majority blue from here is half, and probability of blue marble from a majority blue urn is also 2/3. So we can rewrite this conditional probability as follows, that probability of the urn being majority blue conditional on a blue marble being drawn from it is given by half multiplied by 2/3 divided by half. So the two halves cancel out and you end up with 2/3, right? So this is clearly more than half, and therefore the student should guess majority blue, right? So this ties in with our intuition that, if the first student draws a blue marble, given the symmetricity of everything, then the student should go with majority blue. And now we also know the exact mathematical reason why that is the case, right? So the calculation is pretty similar for the second student. I encourage you to go through that exercise and solve it on your own to do the similar calculations. Let us focus now on the third student, and let's consider the more interesting case where you have got that the first students have announced guesses of blue, right? And the third student draws a red marble. So because of the reasoning that we have discussed, both mathematically and informally, we know that the first students are going to basically announce the color that they have actually drawn, right? So if the first students have announced guesses of blue, that means that they have actually drawn blue marbles, right? So basically now when the third student comes in and draws a red marble, there are actually going to be three pieces of information that he has, right? That the first draw was a blue marble, the second draw was a blue marble, and the third draw is a red marble, right? So here the relevant conditional probability is the following. So remember, what we want is the probability of the majority blue conditional on what the student has seen and heard, right? So the student here saw a red marble and heard that the first two guessed blue, and from there was able to infer that the first two had actually drawn blue, right? So what we want is the following: the probability of the urn being majority blue conditional on the draw being blue, blue, and red, right? That is the right conditional probability to consider. So I'm just going to kind of like clean up the notation a bit. Rather than keep writing blue, blue, red, I'm just going to call the blue V and the red R. So you should interpret this left-hand side as probability of the condition of the urn being majority blue, conditional on draws of blue, blue, and red, right? Again, we use Bayes' rule, so we can rewrite this as the ratio of the product of probability majority blue multiplied by the probability you get blue, blue, and red from a majority blue urn divided by the probability of getting the draw blue marble, red marble, right? So because the draws from each urn are independent, conditional on the type of the urn, right? So we can easily get an expression for probability of drawing blue ball, and red ball from a majority blue urn. So this is given by the probability of drawing a blue marble from a majority blue urn is 2/3. The second one is also 2/3, and the third one is 1/3. So if you now kind of like do the product, this is 4/27. So that's the expression for this thing here in the numerator. We already know that the probability of majority blue is half. So we have the whole expression for the numerator. So half into 4/27. Let's calculate now the denominator, which is the probability of drawing blue marble followed by another blue marble followed by a red marble. So again, we use the law of total probability in exactly the same way that we have done before. So you consider two cases, whether it's a majority blue urn or a red urn. So each of them have equal probabilities. What's the probability of drawing blue, blue, red from a majority blue? We just saw this. So this is given by 2/3 multiplied by 2/3 multiplied by 1/3. And what if the urn was majority red? What's the probability of drawing blue, blue, and red? So probability of drawing blue from that urn is 1/3. Probability of drawing another blue is 1/3. And then finally, the probability of drawing to red is 2/3, right? So now if you do the calculation, basically one of the twos you can see will cancel out. So you end up by looking at 2/27 plus 1/27. So that's 3/27 or 1/9, right? So the denominator is 1/9. And now you can actually go ahead and do the complete calculation, right? So what is the probability of majority blue given this sequence of draws? So that's given by half into 4/27. That's the numerator that we saw, divided by 1/9. That's the expression for the denominator we got. And so that is equal to 2/3, right? So what you end up is that since this is again more than half, then you should actually guess majority blue even though you had drawn the red marble, right? So basically what we see is that in this case, the student should ignore what he sees, right, which is a red marble, in favor of the two guesses that he's already heard, which is both blue, right? So he should go with that because that carries more information. Now you can do the calculation for what the student have done if he had drawn a blue marble, which in this case would be probability of majority blue conditional on 3 draws of blue, and that clearly is going to be more than 2/3, right? So which is more importantly more than half, and therefore he should have said blue in that case as well, right? So what we see from here is that regardless of whether the student picks up a red marble or a blue marble, if the first two guesses were already blue, then the student should go with the blue marble, right? And so essentially what we understand from here is that there is no information content in what the third student is saying, because regardless of what the student is saying, the student is going to answer the same thing, right? And anybody who is going to kind of like come in the future, right, the fourth student onwards, they all know what the third student, the type of reasoning the third student has done, right? So what will happen is that they're going to kind of like all ignore the third student's information, right, because it does not have any information what the student has guessed, and just focus on what the first two students have guessed, which was blue in this example. And so the fourth student is exactly in the same position, right? So from the fourth student's perspective, you have basically got three guesses, right, which is blue, blue, and blue, but you know that the third guess has no information value, right? Because regardless of what the third student has seen, we know for sure that he would have gone with blue, right? So you just base it on the basis of what the first two students do us. But then the fourth student is exactly in the same position as the third student, right? Then the fourth student should also kind of like say blue regardless of whatever it picks up and so on, right? So this is exactly how you end up in a situation where you have an information cascade of blue guesses one after another, right? So this is more kind of like a mathematical description of the problem that we have just kind of like seen informally before when we were discussing this herding experiment.